This is CNN Breaking News.
Breaking news on Roger Stone. I want to go to Shimon Prokupecz for the latest on that. Shimon?
Yeah, that's right, Anderson. This is ongoing as we speak. We have people inside the courtroom. Roger Stone has been found guilty after a week-and-a-half trial, a jury that's been deliberating now for close to 9 hours. They are now returning their verdict, still ongoing. But so far, Roger Stone has been found guilty of four different counts out of the 7. We're still getting word from inside the courtroom. He's been found guilty of making false statements. He's also been found guilty of obstruction. Of course, this all having to do with his appearance before members of Congress who were investigating Russian interference, and specifically his contact with WikiLeaks, but then more importantly, Anderson, his contact with the Trump campaign and Donald Trump himself. Prosecutors here putting on a case accusing Roger Stone. He has now been found guilty of having these communications with the Trump campaign, senior level people inside the campaign, as well as Donald Trump himself. Prosecutors saying that he lied. The jury here now agreeing, finding him guilty on those counts, saying that he lied to members of Congress when he appeared before them and trying to not tell them the truth, essentially, about his contacts with WikiLeaks, people believed to be intermediaries, but more importantly, obviously, the Trump campaign. This all stemming from the Mueller investigation, of course. The jury now finding Roger Stone guilty. And also, it was an important moments, many moments in this courtroom for prosecutors, because looming large over this entire trial was the president himself. Donald Trump came up many times in this case, during the prosecution's case, during witness testimony. You had Rick Gates, former deputy chairman of the Donald Trump campaign, who was cooperating with the government. Steve Bannon took the stand as well. And of course, there was this emotional last statement from prosecutors in closing arguments where they were arguing that the truth and how much the truth mattered, and that it was the job of this jury to find Roger Stone guilty because truth mattered. And even though the defense tried to argue that so what that Roger Stone lied about some of this, in the end, prosecutors arguing the truth mattered and that the jurors needed to find Roger Stone guilty. And that's what we have here, Anderson. He's now been found guilty of lying to members of Congress and obstruction, a very important part of the Mueller investigation, and obviously an investigation that was going on by members of Congress who were trying to figure out exactly the contact that the campaign had with Russians, with WikiLeaks, and what they knew and how they used this information, the WikiLeaks information, to their advantage, Anderson.
Shimon Prokupecz will continue to check in with you for the other accounts as the information is coming out of the courtroom. If only we had some former assistant U.S. attorneys here. Oh, we do, from Southern District, Ellie Honig and Laura Coates for D.C. Ellie, what do you make of this verdict?
So this is really significant, first of all, because it means the jury believed and credited Rick Gates, who testified that Donald Trump knew about efforts to coordinate with WikiLeaks, welcomed them, and encouraged them. And the big theme here in the Roger Stone trial is the same as we're seeing in the Ukraine impeachment inquiry, which is Donald Trump and the president and the people around him welcomed, encouraged, and wanted foreign election interference.
You know, the jury did not buy the argument that this longtime provocateur was trying to make, which is, oh, no, it was a coincidence that the WikiLeaks came out and I had been telling people that I had this back channel. Pure coincidence. Remember the last words that the closing argument prosecutors gave was, the truth still matters, okay? They were able to see through this even a broken clock is right twice a day sort of scenario that Roger Stone did. And even more importantly, this is the same team that was working with the Mueller probe, who was, as we all know, was interested in about the welcome acceptance and why there was such an interest in foreign nations to interfere and influence the election. And keep in mind, it interfered with the committee's ability to assess and evaluate data and evidence, call other witnesses, follow different evidentiary trails when Roger Stone refused and lied to information, refused to give information. So this is very much a consequence of that activity. No one was ever indicted for the conspiracy-related crimes in the Mueller probe, but it's equally important to think about how the consequences of Roger Stone's inability to either tell the truth or to provide truthful information at a crucial time stymied other congressional and Mueller-related investigations. This is essentially the jury saying, no, no, the truth did matter. We saw right through it, and coincidences just don't happen like this.
You know, and this goes, of course, directly to the president, who was then candidate Trump. And in this trial, Rick Gates, a former high-ranking official in the Trump campaign who flipped, talks about this July 2016 conversation, which is really important, that candidate Trump had with Roger Stone. He hangs up the phone, and after the conversation, the prosecutor asked Gates, you know, what did the president say? And he said he indicated that more information would be coming. And they were talking about, of course, WikiLeaks.
Yeah, and we've been so focused, rightly so, on what we're seeing today with these dramatic impeachment hearings focused on the Ukraine, things that the president did while in office. But remember, this is about allegations that have never gone away. No, the Mueller team, his report could not prove collusion, but this is maybe one person removed, collusion. That's what WikiLeaks is. Yeah. WikiLeaks, according to our intelligence officials and so forth, it is an arm of the Russian government. Yeah. And you have a candidate on the phone in the call that Gloria just described, staying up to speed. Now, is he actually talking to the WikiLeaks people? No. To the Russians? No. But his associate is, and the associate, Roger Stone, who is now found guilty, and he's also, clearly, Roger Stone thought there was something wrong with it, because what he was just found guilty of was lying to Congress to protect the president.
Yes. Also, at a certain point, you start to add up, like, in your own life, how many people are you close to in your orbit who have been convicted of things? I mean, Manafort, Flynn, Papadopoulos, Cohen, and now Stone.
Rick Gates, Michael Cohen, Roger Stone, Paul Manafort, Michael Flynn, Alexander Van Der, some of the people who don't have a direct connection to Trump. But those five right there, Michael Cohen, Michael Flynn, Paul Manafort, Rick Gates, Roger Stone, all in this president's inner circle. So part of the calculations, we're having this conversation as we're waiting for an impeachment inquiry to continue. If you're one of these other witnesses and you're meeting with your attorney, do I cooperate? Do I tell the truth? One of the conversations among Republicans in this town is that everyone he touches gets tainted. He manages to fly above it somehow, but everyone he touches, or if you get close, it's Icarus. This is how close to the sun are you going to get?
And let's connect a few dots. We're talking about dirty tricks here. Let's connect a few dots. Roger Stone was a dirty trickster. Acquiring dirt on Hillary Clinton was a dirty trick. Roger Stone made a career out of doing dirty tricks. He started in the Nixon era. And he made a career of poisoning our democracy by playing dirty tricks. What we're talking about in this impeachment hearing is not Roger Stone anymore, because he wasn't able to do this. The president went to somebody else. This whole business about acquiring a dossier on the Bidens, it's another dirty trick. That's getting dirt on your opponents. And I think the public should keep in mind that it's the same behavior. In one case, the president was a candidate. Now he is president of the United States. But the goal was the same, getting dirt on his opponents.
Scott?
Well, you know, back home, Anderson, they would say when you lie down with dogs, you wake up with fleas. And in this particular case, Roger Stone got what he deserved, because you can't lie. You can't lie. No matter what you've done, and let me look into the camera. Kids at home, don't lie. If your hand is up, don't lie. And if your hand is down, don't lie. To my 4 children, don't lie. You can't lie. You can't obstruct Congress. You just have to tell the truth. And most of the time, vast majority of the time, the truth will set you free. So don't lie. And my advice to the president would be, don't pardon this joker. He's not done you any favors. And just, you associate with these kinds of folks, and they get you in trouble, and, you know, it's what you get.
That last point is so important, too, on the idea of the pardon. So he's requesting that information because, as we both know, a defendant's verdict does not end the inquiry. We learned from Manafort, most recently, and other people, that what he does now will be as telling to his fate. He's 68, I believe, years old, facing upwards of 30 years in prison now for all 7 counts of the crimes he's facing. Probably not going to be anywhere near that level. He's a nonviolent offender and a first-time offender, so it won't be that level. But still, the issue is now, where do you go? And when now you are faced with the prospect of a federal penitentiary, are you now in the save-your-own-hide mode and want to cooperate on other things? Do you know more information? Remember, the prosecutors still have to file a sentencing memorandum to say what they're going to do. What do you want to have? And he has an opportunity to sound like a canary or something else.
You know who's on the phone with his lawyer right now? should be Gordon Sondland, because he's already been in and changed his testimony once. He's got to testify next week, and if his lawyer needs to be on the phone with him right now saying, open the news, brother, tell the truth.